solidarity of all the occupations rather than individual occupation pages. And that way we could confer back and forth with one another about what's going on. And I was hoping that our media people here in Occupy Oakland could initiate that and start reaching out to the other occupations and tell them to join this page so we can keep in solidarity with one another and about what's going on and then what the issues are, and that way we can learn from one another from that. And because I think we have a lot. I think we can learn from a lot from other places. San Diego has their own specific problems going on, just like we have our own here in San Francisco and Montana and Minnesota. But we can learn through that way rather than have to search them out. Just pop into one page. There they are, all of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening! Good evening! My name is Chris McCoy, and I'll tell you what I told KCBS today. This is the first day that I've had the privilege to join Occupy Oakland, and I'm very impressed. You're providing food, first aid, music, entertainment, and quality education for the people. I'm sure this is what Athenian democracy looked like right here. People coming together and speaking and debating over the issues of the day. I think this Occupy America movement that we're seeing has been inspired by the Arab awakening. From Tunisia to Egypt to Yemen to Syria, all over the globe, in Greece, Italy, where youth who were largely unemployed, educated, came together to move and express their outrage with the tyrannical government. Now back here in America, we have people like me who have graduated college, paid their dues, worked hard, played by the rules, but there's not enough employment opportunities. There's still economic disparity that needs to be taken care of by the government. I propose that the government forgive student loan debt. That is my chief proposal. And whatever list is put out, whatever demands we make, I hope that remains at the top of the list. I also, my last statement, I agree with the previous speaker who had a qualm about the semantics around this occupation, the word occupy. Yeah. Palestine has been occupied for many years, and that's led to the persecution of the Palestinian people. I think we should have an Uplift Oakland, Liberate Oakland movement. Thank you.
So we're going to restate the question just to remind people. So the question for tonight is, how can we strengthen our solidarity with other occupations in order to make certain this movement does not dissipate?
Hi, I guess just coming from my experience, my name is Susie Q, and because I'm at the Info Tent every day, this has kind of happened on an ad hoc basis. Like a couple of people from San Jose came and asked what we were doing, and a couple of days ago I had the opportunity to talk with 3 women that were involved in the occupation of Barcelona, and they've actually dealt with a lot of the same problems that we've dealt with, you know, and in different ways. And I think what would help is to improve communication so that we can all like see what worked and what strategies that we had. Like, sorry, blinking. Like how we've dealt with interpersonal conflicts, like within our occupation, or you know how we've dealt with the police, how we've dealt with the city, or even you know how we've organized our free schools. And I think to you know share strategies on what's worked and what hasn't. I don't know whether that would be a web page or a Facebook or a printed newsletter, and even you know how like the people facilitating and how you know you run your meetings so that everyone gets heard and you know things don't go too crazy. And yeah, but just to improve communication because a lot of us are really dealing with the same things. So that would be mine. Yeah.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
All right, so you're all beautiful. This is wonderful, amazing. You all know that. Okay, so I'm from different indigenous traditions. So at a certain point, the Hopi grandmother, there's 4 of them for the 4 directions. The one that came out west here, she unrolled the corn blanket. She says it's time. You probably heard the phrase, you are the ones you're waiting for. This is it. In the Native tradition, we talk about on to the 7th generation, but there is a special tradition. All you youth, you are the 7th generation that's going to turn this around. Let's do it.
Thank you. We're going to close stack. We can take 5 more people. So if you're itching to comment, we can take 5 more people. Thank you.
Hi, how you doing? I've been reading a lot online. I haven't been around much during the day, and I've been reading a lot about how different occupiers have been cooperating with things. And I think what we need to do as a group is to look at these other occupiers and see what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Like a couple of things that I've seen wrong, I'll name a couple of things that I saw wrong. The LA Occupy had a anti-police committee because the LA Occupy were very, very nice to the police, cooperative with them. They were practically the opposite of us. And the anti-police committee was ostracized to the point that they took pictures of these people off of Facebook, put them on a flyer, handed out the flyer and said, these people are divisive. They were mainly people of color, because people of color in LA know the LAPD been killing them the whole time they've been in LA. Okay? The way the Oakland PD has been killing us the whole time we've been in Oakland. See, what people don't realize, when the African Americans first came from the Civil War, they came up here, and the people that they got to police the African Americans were I'm sorry. You know what an overseer is, right? These are the scions of overseers, and they are acting in the same way as overseers. They are trying to beat us, whip us, hurt us, and imprison us. They aren't our friends, and until they take off the badge, the gun, and build a tent and help us out, they aren't part of the 99%. Okay? You take the badge off, you take the gun off, you come out here and get in a fucking tent, and then I'll say you're 99%. Till then, you are the hand and the teeth of the enemy of the 1%.
So I have 2 points I'd like to make. First of all, this last summer I was in Egypt in Tahrir Square, and a lot of people asked me there, well, what do Americans think of Tahrir Square? And I told them, well, a lot of workers that I know are saying we need Tahrir Square in America. And here it is. So I think the first point is that we have to see ourselves as part of a global uprising against capitalism. And I also want to talk about the 99%, and it's a nice sounding slogan, but we also shouldn't get confused about it. I think the previous speaker, I think some of the points he made, a lot of us agree with him. And it's not just them. I was just on the phone with a brother of mine who works in a grocery store up in Northern California, and he was telling me about the contract that the union leaders of the UFCW are settling, cutting the pensions and raising the dues. And of course, the top union leaders are making up in 6 figures. Meanwhile, the grocery clerks, some of them are actually on welfare. So those union leaders, and it's not just the UFCW, as far as I'm concerned, no, they are not part of the 99%. We have nothing in common with them. If you are running interference, it doesn't matter if you're a top capitalist. If you are running interference for them, we are not in solidarity with you.
That's right.
And there's others too. Some of the liberals who come out and they talk all radical and everything, and at the end of the day, what they're trying to do, the same thing that happened back in the 60s, channel this into the Democratic Party. They are not part of the 99% either, as far as I'm concerned. So I think we have to be very clear on the class question and who is fighting for the working class and who is either directly or behind a mask fighting for the capitalist class.
Right, yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Last night, I was a little emotionally, I guess, disturbed after some of the incidents. It was about a few-hour ordeal. I don't know if you guys were here, but had a chance to go home and haven't done that in a while. And we actually read an article, pretty interesting. It's about what the occupation in New York wants to set up. And I don't know if you guys read this, but they want to set up a conference in Philadelphia in July and have representatives from all the occupations come out and potentially vote on a list of demands, essentially, to the United States government. And I think that that is actually how we can start thinking. We can start thinking big. We can start thinking in the future. Right now, we're kind of stuck on the day-to-day operations of this camp. But eventually, I think if we keep this movement going, we can start thinking like, how do we organize? How do we organize with fellow Americans, fellow citizens of the world? And I think they have a great start. I also talked to a gentleman at the New York occupation this morning because of the security problems we had last night. And I think we have to stay safe in order to keep this thing going. And if we keep this thing going, maybe we could have 20,000 people like the New York occupation has in Times Square at their GAs. So let's keep it safe, let's think big, and we can do this.
Yay, thank you.
Hello everybody. Couple things. First one, New Mexico has, I think, changed their name to Unoccupy, and I think that might be a good idea. Considering we are having Native grandmothers on Sunday come, and we're all on that level of trying to change even our language and how we not they said that Audre Lorde says you can't you can't rebuild the master's house, or you can't build the master's house, or you can't build a new house. Thank you, using their tools, right? So we don't want to use the same language that it's not an eye for an eye, right? We're trying to rebuild something new, create something new, right? Second thing, 2 days ago, I spoke here at the General Assembly. My friend and co-worker, Abram Pringle, was shot and killed on Friday, and I was thinking a lot about what I could do personally besides come here and support and do that. So I decided I'm going to do a fast starting on Friday. I'm preparing to do a fast, and I was also thinking about the people in Pelican Bay who are also fasting in other prisons. So if they're not eating, I figure, why should I, So I encourage you all I'm going to try to do it for 22 days, starting on Friday. That's how old Abram was. And basically I'm going to be fasting to protest the violence of poverty, because that's why I think most of us are here. So if you see me, please encourage me. It's going to take a little bit to do that. And if you want to join me for a day or two, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name
Mic check. Mic check.
Can you hear me? My name is Katrina. I live in Oakland.
My name is Katrina. I live in Oakland.
I love Oakland.
I love Oakland.
I love you.
I love you.
The most important thing
that we need to remember
is building solidarity. It's respect.
It's respect.
We are all here. With our own personal motivation. But we were brought here. With a common cause.
with a common cause.
We were taught
We were taught
to fill ourselves
to build ourselves
full of
full of
frustration
frustration
and anger.
and anger.
And when the person that we are speaking with
And when the person that we are speaking with
has an opposite viewpoint,
has an opposite viewpoint,
we must stop
we must stop
and remember where
and remember where
we must channel our frustration.
we must channel our frustration.
Not to your fellow campers, to the 1% who taught us to fear.
But to the 1% who taught us to fear.
Respect each other.
Respect each other.
Love each other.
Love each other.
And we will win.
And we will win.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hello. Okay, so I'm originally from New York, born and raised. I fucking love New York in different ways. But right now I'm living in Denver, and I'm traveling around, and I've been to a lot of Occupies, and I have to say that Oakland represents two things for me from the outside. It represents the ability to resist the police. And that, many people have said that the police are not part of the 99%, and that is very fucking true. But there is another step to that. And the fact is that the police are not only not part of the 99%, they fully and only protect the 1%.
That's right.
And that means killing us. That means hurting us. And that means restraining us. And there is no liberation in that. And the other thing that Oakland represents to me is something that I forgot right now. Oh, fuck! Alright, either way, I'm sorry, I got really fired up about that, because fuck the police.
What's up?
Oh, no, they're already inside my brain, what the fuck?
You're the shit.
Hold on, I'm gonna get what Oakland represents.
New York to Denver to a lot of different
It's not good enough. There's another thing y'all need to hear, because this is what building solidarity is about, is the fact that you guys represent for us how to keep these people out. Coming from Denver, I come from a really strong police brutality movement out there. Well, really strong is relative, but you guys are a fucking beacon of what that means to like step away from being oppressed by them. And you guys need to take that seriously, because it is like what we fall back on. And we need you, and you guys keep up on that, because they are not part of the 1%, or the 99%.
Thank you very much. Just to remind you, we only have about 10 minutes left and a lot of speakers and a lot on the agenda, so please keep it down to 2 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Alan. It's my tent over there. And I just wanted to say that for me, building solidarity means reaching out. And some of us have talked about that tonight. Reaching out, building bridges, doing what we can. And one of the big bridges that I hope that we can build and continue to work on is to build bridges to the labor movement. The unions that have been organizing, supporting progressive clauses, and trying their best to defend against the right-wing attacks. Now it's come time that the establishment has decided that unions have to go, pensions have to go, Medicare has to go, Social Security has to go, and this is something that we need to fight against, and unions have always been a bulwark against that. Now, I'm not saying that every union's a good union. I'm not saying there's never been any corruptions and problems. All I'm saying is that what we can do is to help build that. I personally am a member of the United Educators of San Francisco. We are affiliated with the American Federation of Teachers and the California Teachers Association. And I think that the more we can build that, the better. And I want to say one other thing that may seem controversial to some of you. I've been in this movement for 40 years. I've been an activist, and I've been in the labor movement for 30 years. And 30 years ago, when I came to San Francisco and to Oakland, the person that I worked with first was the mayor of Oakland, Jean Quan. She has been a community activist, she has been a labor activist, and she has been somebody who's been on the front lines of the left movement for progressive change. Now, I've worked hard to get her elected. I realize that you're in a compromised spot as a mayor, but I just wanted people to know that little bit of history because I've known her for that long. And so when we talk about how we're going to operate, who's our allies, who could be bridged to, I think we need to consider those kinds of aspects as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Thank you. I'm almost peeing my pants waiting in line. I'm so nervous to get up in front of you, Oakland. Oakland, you are amazing. You are so inspiring. You are inspiring the world. Thank you so much. I just arrived in the Bay Area on Sunday from Berlin. I live in Berlin, Germany, and I went to San Francisco, and San Francisco got beat down on Sunday. I think you all know about this. The police came in, broke up everything, threw away the organic food, broke down the kitchen, kicked everybody out, beat people, arrested them, zip-tied their hands, threw people on the ground. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. And San Francisco, Oakland, you're asking how to help, how to outreach the other movements. San Francisco needs your help. San Francisco is flailing. I don't know how you're doing it here, getting all these people together, joining arm in arm, standing up to the police, telling them to go home, and the police go home. Oakland, that is a feat. Oakland is amazing. We heard that over there, we were just blown away. Everybody cheered and just, wow, Oakland, amazing. We went to the Board of Supervisors meeting yesterday. The Board of Supervisors supports the San Francisco movement. The mayor insists on sending the police in to crush it. So, I don't know what you can do, but I ask you to do what you can. Tell them how to do it right, because you're doing it right, Oakland. Thank you.
Thank you. We still have several people on stack, but next is a committee announcement. So please, if you have an announcement from your committee, migrate to that side of the stage. Thank you.
Greetings from the African Revolution. I just wanted to say one thing, make something very clear, is that it's labor that produces wealth. It's labor that produces wealth, not corporations. Corporations steal the labor. Corporations steal from the people. It's the people who built all these buildings around here. It's the people who built every car. It's the people who grow the food. It's the people who teach. And if the people are working for any of the 1%, they are exploiters. And if we're working for them in terms of our educational system, let us remind you that it is teaching us to be slaves. And we don't have to answer to that because we can build our own, which is what we're doing right now. So how this takes over, what we need to do is build the collectives, look at all these organizations that are working for Occupy Oakland and beyond, and we need to duplicate them into the community. So let's organize. Every individual should be in an organization that's working for the people. And that's how we can account.
Thank
All right, first of all, I want y'all to give yourselves a big hand because I really see a lot of support and a lot of friendship and a lot of things that are missing in our communities. So I want each one of y'all to give yourselves a round of applause. Because this is special. This is the beginning of something special. Now, he had a question that says, how can we improve the occupation. I think that a lot of times we come downtown and we expect a lot of things to happen, and they sit in their corporate offices and they don't give a damn about this. That's why we're here. But if you try to apply for one of these in the community, bring the community out, grandmothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, get some of these churches that are all in these communities to come out, then I think you'll have a more of a people's movement where they'll have to come down and sit down at the negotiation table. We won't have to call them and say, hey, we need these problems fixed. They'll come to us because now the community is behind us. And that is something that is missing and that they can't deny. Anytime you go to the communities, go to 98 to the park, and all of the people in that community comes out, then you have a movement. But to come down here, this is all fine and dandy. I love it. It's the beginning. But I think that we need to move this to the communities where the police are killing our people, where the police are bombarding and doing everything that they want and then getting instructions on how to get out of it. At our expense, at our kids' expense. Our schools are messed up and our economy is shot. I heard Obama say that we want to do a trade and send American cars over to Japan and different countries. How many people in Japan gonna buy American cars? Our cars gonna be sitting on lots while they shipping the cars over here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, if you are in the committee or caucus, can you please come up to the stage? Please line up here for subcommittee announcements. Thank you. Or report backs. Report backs only, please.
So, I decided to come down here after reading the New York statement of the first statement that everyone achieved consensus on. I thought that was a really powerful statement because it tied so many related issues together. So many things that I cared about, that I knew the interconnection between the food we eat, the education we get, how we police ourselves, our communities, our societies. These are basically the things that affect our day-to-day life and our life year over year and how we'll live into our old age. But we don't have control over those things anymore because moneyed interests influence so much of the decision-making process of our government. And so whoever cares about their one issue, it all gets tied together, but how do we decide things? What is our democracy? Is it still a democracy, or is it a plutocracy run by interests who have become so powerful through the concentration of influence? And by tying things back to that one seed that ties each person's passion together, that's, I think, how we achieve solidarity across the states and across the Occupy movement. Beyond any one issue that can be divisive, even within a group that's already here, there's a broader issue which can bring people together across the states, and I think that's what we should be focused on.
My name is Knowledge. I'm from Occupy SF. We got raided the other night, but we want freedom. I've been watching the 1% or the Illuminati for a long time, right? Because it's the same shit, right? And they always do these events like 9/11, 3/11, Japan, 1/11. They always tell you what the fuck they're going to do before they do it. So what I propose is our way to freedom is on 11/11/11. We're taking the Golden Gate Bridge. We're shutting it down. Oh, shit. 11/11. What time? At 11. Occupy SF, Golden Gate Bridge. Woo!
Thank you. Can I have the next speaker?
This is just to kind of add to what he already had said. I just kind of feel like if we all need to leave school or not be at our jobs or take our children out of school just to get the government to notice that we run the government, we work here, we do, if nothing's going to work if we're not at where we're supposed to be. So I just kind of feel like we do need to get out into the streets and just stop doing what we usually do. Stop going to school, stop going to work for at least one day or just plan a day where we're not where we're supposed to be and in the streets so they can really notice like nothing's going to get done without us. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, I'm Oak. I'm from Occupy SF. I've been coming out here just because we've been reading in the news about how Occupy Oakland is doing so well that you guys have started to branch off over by Lake Merritt at Snow Park. And so I think that's a really great thing. Now the question was earlier, what can we do to make sure that this camp doesn't dissipate?